Sounds good.
Hey guys, welcome back to Buddy Buddy. I am not your normal host. I am the host better half, Andrew. You know it's true. Everyone does. I'm kidding. I'm Abby. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Andrew's fiance. And we talked in the past about having me kind of take the reins and have some girls on the episodes. And so this is Grace.
Hello.
She is our first guest for all the women. But before we get started, just wanted to let you guys know, definitely like, subscribe, comment, share this podcast wherever you listen, wherever you watch it. Give us a good rating just so we can kind of get the target audience and people can kind of see what it's like to have genuine conversations with people and kind of on the spot. But here we are.
Yep.
Also, a little plug, since, we're kind of getting started and stuff. I guess season 2 of all of this is what we're calling it. We're trying to do like some more merch and stuff, and we're going to kind of gear it towards wedding funds and things. And so we talked about having merch that were kind of like the color schemes of our wedding.
Ooh.
And so if you're interested or you think like, oh, I'd love a Buddy Buddy hoodie or like a sticker, coffee mug, anything like that, definitely let us know. We'll put you down so we kind of know how much to order and all of that. But like I said, this is Grace. And if you've kind of been following along with the episodes that we've previously recorded, her boyfriend is Kevin, who Andrew interviewed in like an earlier episode.
Yeah, like a month or so ago.
Yeah, he might have been like the second or third guest.
I think you're right.
It was like
it was
really
early on.
Yeah, it was very early on.
Yeah.
So Grace, welcome to Buddy Buddy.
I'm so honored to be here.
I'm so glad you're my first guest. Like, this is so fun.
I feel so honored.
Because me and Grace, we know each other because Kevin and Andrew are friends, and you worked with Andrew at Bella.
Yep.
And so that's kind of how the three of y'all became friends.
Yeah.
And y'all just like invited us over one
Pizza
day.
night.
Yeah, pizza night. And so we can get into how we met in a little bit, but just tell us about yourself.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm Grace, obviously. We've said that. I am very passionate about a lot of things, actually. It's hard to pick one, but I'm very passionate about kids. So I am currently a full-time nanny. I was working at Bella, the coffee shop, until about 2 months ago, and that's where I met Andrew, and actually that's where I met Kevin too, back in 2018. So cute. But
we do love him.
Yes. So I'm a full-time nanny. I'm really passionate about working with kids. I am really passionate about brain health, and I can get into like where that started.
Yeah.
And I went to college for studying psychology. So I have a bachelor's in psychology, which kind of, I guess, started the whole mental health and passion for brain health. But what continued that was I had a traumatic brain injury in 2020. So, which is kind of weird. It's like I had an injury, which in turn turned into a passion, which is really cool. But I'm passionate about kids, brain health, mental health. And honestly, I wrote in my notes, but I fully, you'll see throughout. Communication is key, honestly. Like, I'm literally like, if you're trying to figure anything out in life, whether it be with a friendship or relationship, marriage, dating, like, just talk about it, which is so perfect for what we're doing right now.
Yes.
Literally just talking about it, getting to know somebody, gaining understanding.
Yes.
Love
absolutely. Absolutely. So you are from Indiana.
Yes.
Right?
Yep,
and so what's it like there?
Flat. It's super flat and a lot of corn.
Okay.
But yeah, I loved growing up there. It was really nice. And now living in South Carolina, it's totally the opposite of flat. But yeah.
So is there anything like, what are some things in Indiana that are like, oh my gosh, why do y'all not do this? Or that's like kind of different?
Yeah. So a really funny thing is that like for Thanksgiving and Christmas, like we always had noodles. Like I feel like nobody has ever heard of having noodles. Like it's not just like, it's not chicken and noodles. It's literally noodles.
Like pasta noodles.
Yeah.
Like just the angel hair. Like
actually they're a bit thicker and they're usually like homemade. Like you can get some that are not homemade. but like my grandma would usually make them. Actually both my grandmas, my mom's side and my dad's side, and we would have noodles, and I would just like get my mashed potatoes, and then I'd make a little circle in my my mashed potatoes and put my noodles in there. So when I
Really?
moved here, I was like, you guys don't have noodles.
Like, you go to Thanksgiving, where's y'all's noodles?
What happened to your like traditions here? But that's just that's a really funny one. I'm trying to think. We had in high school, we had a drive your tractor to school day. I don't know if
That is
schools
incredible.
have that here, but
I feel like in the South, you could definitely find a school that does that.
yeah, I don't have a tractor. I never had a tractor, so I didn't drive a tractor.
Yeah.
But we had students. They would drive like lawnmowers, literally like John Deere.
That is actually
I
crazy.
know.
Oh my god.
I know. Yep. So
That's
there's
messed up.
that, and then I would say definitely like the seasons, which that's pretty obvious, but there was a longer fall season, like autumn
Okay.
season in Indiana. South Carolina is like you get it for like a couple weeks, and then you're like, "What happened? I didn't see you." This
That's
year's going pretty
honestly
good so far.
Well, I feel like it just got so cold out of nowhere.
Yeah,
And I'm like, what in the world? Like freeze warning on my car. I'm like, why is it 39 degrees already?
I know.
It's so
It got
cold.
down to like 27 last night. I
Yeah,
think.
it was very cold. But I think when we first hung out, I told you that when I played volleyball, because we bonded because we both played volleyball.
Yes.
I told Grace that I went to Indiana for a volleyball tournament and I
Yep.
accidentally got recruited.
Yeah. Was it? What was the school again?
It was Indiana Wesleyan.
Indiana Wesleyan. Yep.
It was so bizarre. I loved the trip. Like Indiana was so fun. I had a girl that I played with who was originally from there.
Yeah.
And so we had to obviously stay in hotels and stuff with our teammates. And I got like partnered up with her or whatever. And her grandma brought us this huge like care package of just snacks. I mean, they were normal snacks. I don't know if there were any like Indiana staple things,
yeah.
but she did bring us White Castle,
Indiana
which
staple.
is definitely an Indiana staple.
Definitely. Oh my goodness.
It tastes way better than I know you can buy like the frozen ones at
Yeah.
Walmart. It's definitely way better than that,
Yep.
obviously. But
It's so bad for you, but it is so good.
it's very good.
If you're prepared to have like stomach pains after, you'll be fine.
Good word. Good
Yeah,
word.
I totally grew up on that though. That, and there was like I think it was like Barks red soda or whatever. I
Oh,
grew up
never
on
heard of
that.
that.
Yep. It's I guess just like a White Castle thing. I'm pretty sure you can buy them at like Walmart or Kroger or whatever in Indiana. But that's the other thing. There's so many different stores in Indiana. Like there's Kroger, Meijer, and like I went to Publix for my first time in Florida, but we don't have Publixes.
Okay.
Publixes? We don't have Publixes in Indiana. We do have them here, but
Yeah. I mean, my hometown, we have like a Walmart. We did have a Buy Low until they turned it to Planet Fitness.
Gosh, I don't know that I've ever. I think I've been. No, I don't know that I've ever been to a Buy Low.
I mean,
to be honest.
it's basically Ingles.
Okay.
I mean, I would
pretty
say Ingles. We have that. And we have Aldi,
Yeah.
and I think
Oh,
a
yeah.
Food Lion. But I think that's it. But the
Aldi's
Food Lion's
good.
like on the other side of town.
Yeah.
So
There's
I'd
so
be
many
going there.
different things. It's only like 8 hours away from here, but there's so many different places, different restaurants, different lifestyle, everything.
Yeah,
So many cornfields. Literally everywhere you turn, cornfield.
that's so funny.
Yeah.
I mean, I know. Do you have to go through Kentucky?
I think so.
I feel like you do. I'm
Um,
so bad at
I'm
maps or anything
so-
to do with geography, but
Yes, you do. I'm terrible with geography. This is embarrassing. Don't judge me.
I have to teach
literally-
geography, and it's so bad. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that.
Literally, Kevin is always like, Grace, like you need to not always rely on your GPS. And I'm like, but it's always here. He's like, what if your phone dies?
Oh my
But-
god, that is Andrew.
Yep. I mean, he's got a point.
I mean,
but
yeah,
I do rely on my GPS.
that's so funny. So you moved down here when?
In 2018.
2018. So
April.
talk about that.
Yeah. So, okay. So I went to college for psychology. And I love working with kids. So there's kind of like that. So I really wanted to work with kids. That was like my next move. I was originally gonna do like I wanted to do counseling and go
Okay.
into my master's. But after I graduated my bachelor's, I was like, I'm so burnt out. I need like a break.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I still haven't done that. I don't know, to be decided. Not for counseling, but it could be something brain health related.
Mhm.
But so then fasting forward, I became a nanny after I graduated, and I really wanted to work with kids. so I started sending my resume out to like different places, and I reached out to a few churches about like their children's ministry. And I actually knew a guy in South Carolina that moved here to start working with the church. And so I was like, let me see what they think about my resume. So I sent my resume and came here to meet them. And turns out I moved here for an internship with their church. They have a different name now, but it was Impact Drayton, I think is what it was when I first moved here.
Nice.
But now it's like ID downtown, I think, or something. But yeah, so I moved here for that and then got plugged into Bella Latte. I moved here on April 2nd, and then on April 4th was my like first day.
Nice. At Bella or
at Bella Latte.
Bella. Gotcha.
Yep. So that's what originally brought me here. And yeah, I'm so passionate about kids. Obviously I'm a nanny right now. So yeah, it's been interesting. I did move into more of just like full-time barista and working at the coffee shop. I wasn't working at a church or anywhere. And let's see. Yeah, I just kind of like moved away from working with kids, and I was starting to get a little bit burnt out on customer service. I love Bella Latte, great coffee. But I was just like, I don't think I can be like doing this customer service thing anymore. And so then I found Care, or I've already knew about Care.com, but I got on Care.com and found this family last November, and I was just like, I love this. Like, it does not feel like work at all to me. And I was like reminded of my love for working with kids in that kind of capacity.
That's sweet.
So yeah.
So you worked, it was just like a few days a week with the first nannying job, right?
Yes. Yep. It was 9 hours a week.
Gotcha.
Split into like 3 days. And so I would do that. I would babysit for that family, and then I would work part-time at the coffee shop. And then kind of like when I decided to make that change and not do the coffee shop and customer service anymore, I spoke with the family that I was already with and increased my hours. So now I'm like 20 hours a week with them. And then I found another family on Care.com. So I work for 2 families a week right now.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
I remember the first time we met, you were kind of talking about slowly moving away from Bella and just like, I just want it to be the right family. So that's so good that it works out.
And it's so cool that like I'd never met them before, you know, like I found them on an app. They found me, and I don't know, they really do feel like family to me. And specifically the family I've been with for this November will be a year.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And the other family I met, they're really sweet too. Both families have work from home parents, which is really, really rare, I feel like.
That is rare.
But the babies are so young, it's not a difficulty to have that at all. And they're really chill, they're really caring, really kind. They love Jesus, everything. Like, it's just a perfect fit.
And it just feels like you're helping them raise their child.
Yes, I've been with this baby girl since she was 8 months old, and I'm like, I am connected. Like, I miss you when I'm on vacation or whatever.
I feel like you're my child.
I know.
That's so crazy. Honestly, I don't nanny, but I teach 3rd grade, and so it kind of feels like that sometimes. Like when my kids go to the next grade and all of that, like my first year kids are in 5th grade now, which I mean, this is only my 3rd year, so I'm not like real deep, but it's crazy because I'm like, I want you to be mine, or like I'm watching you grow up. Like that's so cool to see. Or like there's this girl that I've known since 6th grade, like in youth group. Her name's Anna Turner. Her brother is actually singing at our wedding, so that's fun. But
that's so cute.
It's crazy because her and her brother Isaac, her little brother Colton, like I've literally watched them grow up.
I love that part.
It's so crazy. And now she's in college. She's playing softball at USC Aiken. And I get to watch her brother Isaac. He's only I think he's in 9th or 10th. He might be in 10th now. I don't know. But knowing him from like 4th grade, and now he's in high school, and how they serve the Lord and just like full surrender to him is just so cool. And so I definitely get that.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. It is so cool to see that. Like, when I first started babysitting her, she was 8 months, couldn't crawl yet, and now she's running. Literally like so independent, running. And well, her name is Rosie. I don't know why I haven't said it. I'm so like protective of saying the name. Her name is Rosie. But it's so cool to see like the development. And the other baby that I watch she was 4 months when I started. Now she's like 6 or going on 7 months. Yeah, it's so cool. It's really, really cool.
So do you think that you'll nanny, like, how long do you think that you'll do it?
Yeah, so I have no plans on leaving this family at all
Mhm.
ever until they don't need me anymore.
Yeah.
My dream job is to be a mom. I love kids. I cannot wait to be, God willing, a mom and have my own
Mhm.
kids. Which yeah, it's kind of also another benefit to being able to be a nanny. I
Yeah.
use each time that I'm with her or the other baby as practice for things that I would do with my
Mhm.
children growing up, and like, I don't want to be controlling, I don't want to be loud, I don't want to be, I want them to have a good developing environment
Yes.
and something that they discover on their own without kind of like me pointing and taunting and
Mhm. Being,
I
like,
don't want to instill,
authoritative and
yeah,
stuff, yeah.
authoritative and instilling fear of any kind like that. Just more so like guidance and like
Yeah,
providing awareness of things. And I
that's good.
love it. I love it. I know this is what God wants me to be doing, and I don't plan on stopping
That's
anytime
so
soon.
cool. I love that.
Yeah.
My older sister, she has a 16-month-old, and it is actually wild what she can do. And
Yeah.
so I
Oh
guess
my
that's the
god.
closest thing I have to, like, well, I don't really know any other babies, but
Yeah.
so we've seen her like twice in the past week just because we saw them at my grandparents' house and then we stopped by there last Sunday because we were like near her house. We were like, hey, we're coming by.
Of course, yeah.
But she is so smart. She's 16 months and she knows like probably now close to like 100 words.
Yep.
And she'll say open or I'm done and just crazy. She knows penguin and like all these things. And it's like, how at 16
Ah,
months do
I
you know
love that.
this? But
Yeah.
watching her develop, like my sister's name is Dipali. She's the one from India we were talking about
Okay.
at dinner.
Yeah, yeah.
She it's crazy watching her be a mom. I still don't think it's her child, but it's crazy. But it's cool watching her mother her and like help her develop even mentally.
Mhm.
And I'm just blown away. And me and Andrew are like, okay, we're taking notes for
Oh
when
yeah.
the Lord, if He
Oh
blesses
yeah.
us with kids too. We're like,
Yeah.
this is crazy.
That's I love that. That's so cool. Yeah. It's really cool. And like taking notes and like all that stuff, and I can be hard on myself sometimes. Like I'm still saying things that I don't want to say. Like sometimes I'm a little too bossy or whatever. I mean,
Mhm.
I am the nanny, so I need to, be protective, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day too, remembering that you're never going to be perfect, even when
Mhm.
you're like, okay, I finally gotten all these things and this way of this kind of parent that I want to be, and I want to make sure I never say these things, you're still going to fail and
Oh
still going to
yeah.
make mistakes. And
Yeah.
it's really important to me to try and remember that,
Yeah.
hopefully whenever I have a kid.
Yeah. Well, I think it's important too. Like, I'm obviously not a mom, but
Yeah.
um, just realizing like my parents are humans too, and
Exactly. Yeah.
they have emotions, and ultimately, these negative things is just the sin we have, you know. And
Yeah.
so it's like where Christ would show us grace and does continually, we try to show
Yeah.
that back to people,
Hmm.
and it's sometimes hard when it's family.
Right. It's like harder.
Yeah, it's so much harder, which I don't know why, but
We're
I guess,
comfortable.
yeah, we're comfortable. We see
Yeah.
all the sides, but
Yeah.
so I try to remember like, okay, my mom is human. I need to try to talk to her and remember that like she might say stuff out of emotion or anger or
Yeah.
whatever, and we just need to talk about it.
That's
And
so important.
I mean, I do that even as a teacher. I'm like, hey, that sounded kind of rude. I didn't mean for it to sound rude. Or
Right.
like
Right.
as a coach, I'm like, that came out really sassy. My bad. And
Yeah.
so then they see like, oh, I mean, even though
Like
she's
she's
like our
admitting.
authority, but
Yeah.
she's humbling herself, you know? And so,
That's so impactful, and
yeah,
it shows them a model of like none of us are perfect,
right.
and this is what we do when we make a mistake. We
That's right.
admit it and talk about it, and yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Ugh,
It's good stuff.
life, man.
I know. So I kind of want to transition just a
Yeah.
little bit and talk about like how you and Kevin like started dating, because I know
Yeah.
you guys met at Bella,
Mhm.
but you take it
Yeah.
from here. Tell us
Okay.
all that.
So let's see. I think it was one of my first shifts. I walked into the Drayton location of Bella,
Mhm.
and I was coming in to train with our manager at the time, Eric
Mhm.
Blanton. And I was nervous because I'd never met any of the workers that were
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, like, I'm Grace. I'm here for my training with Eric. And Kevin was the one who like introduced himself, and he was at the register. And he was like, oh, hey, like, yeah, I'm Kevin, but I've never heard the name Kevin before. So I was like, oh, I thought he said Kevin. And I knew Kevin was the name of the manager that was at the store. So I was like, oh, okay, you're the, and I like, he was like, the photographer. And I was like, super nervous on the inside because I was like, yeah, definitely, you're the photographer. Cool, nice to meet you. And I didn't say like, he knows now, obviously, but like I didn't say like, I thought you were saying your name's Kevin and you're the manager. But he was the photographer for Bella at the time.
Okay.
For like the social media and stuff. But so that was our first ever interaction. And I'm trying to think. So we had a couple of shifts together. I think the first shift was also an accidental shift because Eric meant to schedule me with the manager, Kevin, so that I could get some more training. But he mixed up Kevin and Kevin because their names are so close.
Yeah.
So Kevin and I worked a shift together, and I'm trying to think. It was like him and our friend Josiah was coming to meet up with him after our shift, and they invited me to go to Fuji. And I think that was like my first time ever going to Fuji.
So good. Shout out Fuji.
They were just being sweet, and they were like, well, I kind of want to make sure she's got like some friends, you know, and stuff like that. So that was like I think that was our first time hanging out. And then I invited him over for a pool day. I was living with a girl named Lauren and her mom at the time in Duncan.
Okay.
And that's where I first lived when I moved here for like 4 months. They're super sweet, and I had such a great time living with them. And they had a pool in their neighborhood. So I invited Kevin over for a pool day. And then he's a photographer. So then our next time hanging out, we did a photo shoot.
Nice.
Yeah, we were kind of talking about like, was this? I can't remember if this was before. He went on a trip to California for 2 months with our friend Luke and lived in a minivan. And that might have been, I think this was after they got back from their trip. So like we first hung out at Fuji and pool day before they went to California. And then when I first saw Kevin, I liked him immediately. Yeah. I liked him, but I wasn't sure if he had a girlfriend or anything like that. So I didn't really know him. You know, I was just like feeling it out. Yeah. And so I'm getting sidetracked now. So they went on their California trip and then got back, and then we did a photo shoot. And what it was supposed to be was like me looking like I was floating with balloons, but I accidentally popped all the balloons.
No.
Yeah, we were like going through a field, and I was just like carrying it. It was like,
oh, that's so tough.
I still have pictures from that time, but we didn't get any with balloons, and the concept was not there.
That's so funny.
But they were still good photos. And then we hung out, and I'm trying to think. Oh, this was before. Okay, sidetrack. Pause. Before they went to the California trip, we hung out on a soccer field. And that was our first kiss, was on the soccer field.
Cute.
Yeah. We were like, I don't know, we were playing soccer, and then I'm probably turning a little bit red. My cheeks feel warm. But we were like, oh, let's sit down and talk. So we were just sitting it was a YMCA soccer field. And we were just sitting there, and like I didn't know if he was trying to flirt or if I don't think we were like, I don't know, we were just like awkward.
Yeah.
So then we just kind of like scooted closer, and I was just like, okay, I'm going to sit closer to you. And then we kissed.
That's sweet.
But then, then after that, he went on his trip to California, and I was just kind of like, I don't know, like if that's going to work out. Like, I don't know if it's going to amount to anything, you know, I don't know if we're going to end up dating. And honestly, we did not date for like a whole year. Like we were just best friends. We hung out all the time, went to Fuji a lot more. And then we started dating October 30th, 2019.
Nice.
Yeah. So
still going strong.
Yeah. It was funny because we both worked at Bella. So like we weren't officially dating yet, but like everyone else was like, you guys are dating. Like, come on, you're hanging out all the time. Like, come on. And like Eric, our boss, he was like, he just stopped scheduling us together because he was like, we're not supposed to work together when we're dating.
Yeah.
And then eventually I was just like, Kevin, let's just make it official. Come on. Let's just make it. He's
do
like,
it.
okay, I'll tell Eric tomorrow. We're official. It's like, yes. So October is one of my favorite months.
Nice. And so y'all's anniversary, I guess.
Yep.
Just happened.
It just
a few days
happened.
ago.
Yep.
Love it.
Yeah.
So what is that, like 4 years now y'all been together?
Yep. I say 5
Because of the year
of the
y'all
year we were all like hanging. Yeah, but 4
Gotcha.
official years.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So what would you say is something like you would consider y'all's strength?
Yeah. So I actually wrote this in my notes. Let me just remind myself because I don't
That's
wanna
hey,
forget.
that's fair. Look, we're not trying to hide anything, people. We have scripts.
We have scripts. But okay, so yeah, honestly, I feel like we're really good at problem solving, but like usually it's when there's like a conflict. Like, okay, so it took a long time to get to this point too, like a lot of communication practice. But when it comes to figuring out like, okay, we're upset, we disagree on this, why? Where does it come from? And like problem solving together to figure out how we can communicate better. Like it could be like if we're triggered by something,
Yeah.
like maybe like a tone was off or something, and then like I get in a mood and I'm like, but he doesn't know why. So like pausing and taking a moment. I'm still not perfect at it. No one's perfect, but like it just takes some time to be like, okay, I need space, or this is why I reacted that way. So I feel like we're really good at that, but also like the willingness for on both sides to get to that point. Like if it was just one of us wanting to like understand and communicate, I don't know if I'm wording that right, but like yeah, like willingness to grow in that area from both sides.
Gotcha.
Because if it's just like one side, then it's just like constant like pauses and constant like misunderstanding and then probably arguing and all that.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that was a good answer.
No, that's a great answer. I mean, hey, that's y'all.
I feel like I'm like all over the place.
No, you're doing great. So what would you say is an area of growth for you guys?
Yeah. So I don't have to look at my notes for this one. I mean that in the best way possible. We've talked about it a lot. So like obviously we both want to grow individually, but like for us together in a relationship, honestly, like prioritizing quality time without screens is like a huge, it's really hard.
It
like
is.
You come home from a long day of work, or like not for me, I don't look at my phone when I'm with the kids because I'm, life in my hands. I'm watching the kids, and so then when I get home I just want to look and scroll. What did I miss out on Instagram? Or I just don't want to talk. I just want to turn on the TV. I love watching movies. I love it. But just like pausing and putting it down. Or we do watch a lot of movies together, but and like Kevin, he loves video games, so that can also be another screen time where we have to like communicate like, okay, like this is good. And I feel like prioritizing that, like maybe like a day a week or whatever, like let's just have like a couple hours where it's not that.
Yeah. Or like schedule like one day a week, every day, every Tuesday is our date night.
Yes.
Or like every Thursday, that's our date night and stuff like that.
Like very intentional about it. Yeah. Because it can just go over our heads.
Yeah. Me and Andrew are already trying to like we're going through a book right now. He put it somewhere else. Oh, it's over there. It's called Marriage. I think it's by like Paul David Tripp or something like that. We just recently started it, but we're already trying to figure out like routines, and because we don't live together, so our lives are meshed but not fully.
Right.
We're not like fully one yet. And so just trying to think like, how can we build our community but also not neglect each other at the same time, because that can be, especially with newlyweds and want to hang out with couples and then family and all that. And so I think it can definitely get a bit overwhelming. But
definitely I would say like definitely don't let it, like it can get overwhelming, but just remember like you have your whole lives. You have your whole lives, and it just whenever mistakes happen, just laugh about it. Like
I mean, honestly, that's why we are trying to start now. That's part of the reason we had you and Kevin over tonight, just to go ahead and start like having people like in our circle, that we can say like, oh, well, let's see if Kevin and Grace want to go. Or I know we his friend Jeremiah plays cornhole a lot, so we hang out with him and Mia whenever they're playing or doing whatever. And so just trying to already think about that too. So
no, I love that. Kevin and I don't go on a lot of double dates, and so I've been wanting to for like a really long time. It's just rare. It's hard with like work and just like everything, and then just being intentional about being like, you guys want to come over like pizza night or whatever.
And I think sometimes you just overthink it, like,
Yeah.
and it's fine. You're just hanging out. There's really no pressure, but
Yeah.
I think sometimes people feel the pressure to entertain, like feeling like they have to entertain,
That can be
which
hard. Yeah.
I mean, when you're getting to know somebody and you're maybe not as close, I guess
Yeah.
it can feel like that. But I mean, I feel like every
Yeah.
relationship starts off like that.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
feels like you're entertaining, and then you get to a point where it's like you could just stare at a wall forever as long as you're together.
And we
It's
look back
fine, or-
after a year and you're like, what do we even do for fun? Like,
Yeah.
oh, we just sit here and like, yeah.
Yeah,
You kind of
exactly.
like figure out what you all like to do together. And in the beginning stages of hanging out, we're just asking each other a ton of questions,
Mhm.
like doing this buddy podcast,
Yeah.
like literally like learning about our lives,
Mhm.
which is awesome. I
Yeah.
think that's so cool.
Yep. So one thing I definitely want to talk about is your accident.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can kind of maybe
Yeah.
wrap it up there. So
Okay.
talk to us about that, and then
Yeah.
you were in like a really bad was skateboarding.
It was skateboarding, yeah. Yep. So it was actually like a longboard, but I'm just gonna say skateboard. It happened 2020, April 15th.
Mhm.
So Calvin and I were planning on moving to California and living in a minivan.
Mhm.
And so we had moved out of the house that we're actually currently living in right now. We moved out and we were gonna stay with Calvin's parents and brother for our plan was like just a few days, just to
Mhm.
like hang out and spend time with each other before we're going across literally the world.
Yeah.
No, so we planned on doing that, and then COVID hit.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh crap. Okay, so let's like pause for 2 weeks and just like see where this goes and if it goes away and what happens in California. And so during that 2 weeks, I decided to go skateboarding outside by myself. Not really sure why I did that because I'm not good at skateboarding. I've never been good at skateboarding, but I was practicing and I was trying to
Yeah.
get better. Calvin and I would go with our friend Luke to like garage, like the parking
Mhm.
garage where it's really flat. However, I did not wear a helmet. So that is like a really big mistake. I know helmets don't seem cool, but please just like put stickers all over them and like, you know what I
Yes.
mean? So yeah, so we were at his parents that morning and we watched the movie Onward and we were just hanging out, normal morning.
Yeah.
And yeah, so then I went outside and I was trying to develop and being more independent and not always like being like, I don't want to do this unless Calvin does this with me. That's
Mhm.
something about me that in relationships I struggle with, being very dependent on
Yeah.
whoever I'm dating. And so I just like really was like, man, okay, Calvin's gonna think I'm so cool if I'm just like out here skateboarding, like look
Yeah.
at this skater girl, like California, you know. I was like, this will be so cool. So when he asked me what I was going to do as I was putting my shoes on, which I actually don't have any memory of this conversation, but this is what he told me. We had like a joke where when somebody asked what we're doing, we would be like, wouldn't you like to know? So apparently he was like, what are you doing? And I was like, wouldn't you like to know? And I never actually told him I was going out on the skateboard. So I guess I left and I think he thought I was going to take the golf cart out or something.
Okay.
And so yeah, it was just him and his mom at the house and his dad was working. I can't remember if his brother was at the house or not that day actually. But anyways, so I guess it only was a 5-minute length of time since I had left the house and since they got a call from my phone that I fell. Our mail lady in the neighborhood found me. Yeah,
Wow.
I know. We're still friends and I was able to talk to her after I got home from the hospital and everything, but she's such a sweetheart and I guess when she found me, she thought it was like a prank. Somebody was pulling or something. And she was like, this is not real. Like, there's no way this is real. And the only reason she was out that late that day doing her mail around the neighborhood was because she had a tire problem. Like her tire popped or something. Yep. She was like 2 hours late. She was
So
supposed
did
to
you
be
like
home.
hit a rock, or did you just?
So I actually don't know. My best guess. So I don't know. I lost my memory I don't have any memory of the accident itself
Mhm.
or the next 10 days after the accident. So like the first hospital I was at, I don't even have any memories
That's
of being there.
crazy.
And so I just based off of like the injuries, I have scars on my fingers still.
yeah.
And I had like scrapes on my knee and my shoulder over here, and I sprained my left ankle. So my guess is it was a little tiny hill. My guess is that I was going down. I usually have my left foot forward, and I was going too fast, so I tried to stop, and I think I took my left foot off, but it sprained, causing me to fall.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and my skateboard was in a ditch, like in a distance down the street. So when they found me, they didn't know if what they thought I would like could have been out there walking and got hit by a
Mhm.
car or something like that. I mean,
Yeah.
technically, we still don't know if I did get hit by a car, but just from all the like observations of my injury, I don't
They
think I
concluded it was
was.
just
Yeah,
skateboard.
yeah. So yeah, so when they found me, actually Calvin took pictures of me, so like you can kind of just see like how much blood I lost and like
Mhm.
um just kind of what I looked like, and like I guess I was very combative when they found me, which is apparently pretty common when you have like a brain injury.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have no memory. No memory at all. The only thing that I still have as far as like that accident, of course I have a lot of things that I've developed and just like struggle with the brain health in general.
Yeah.
But from the accident, the only thing I know was from that day was I have PTSD from like sirens and hearing like an ambulance, but it doesn't bother me to see them.
Yeah.
It's just hearing them, which is so wild to me. So I'm like wondering if maybe my vision was blocked out when I hit my head or
Mhm.
something like that. I feel like it was God protecting me from all the pain, to
Yeah.
be honest.
Yeah.
And the fact that I don't remember it still.
Yeah.
This April will be my 4 years and I still don't have the memory. So I really feel like God's just protecting me. I know
Yeah.
for a fact it is a miracle that I'm alive.
Absolutely.
I know that for a fact.
That
like
is crazy.
I was in a Bible study. It was probably a few months after it happened. I was in an online Bible study
Mhm.
from a girl that I met. I started doing Arbonne for a little while,
Nice.
and a girl that I met in that group. And they asked me the question like, which I've been asked this question before, but has there ever been a situation or experience in your life when you know that it was God there protecting you?
Mm.
And I never really knew how to answer that. Like I always was just like, well, yeah, of course, God's always got me, like
Mhm.
I've been through a lot of stuff, but I never really had that like feeling. And so during that Bible study that day, I was like, yeah, I know that for a fact.
Yes.
This accident, like there's no other way. Like I fractured my skull up here. I have like literally my skull is like a unique shape now because of hitting my head. And I giggle just because it's like 4 years now, and
Yeah.
I want to like share knowledge about it, and I want to talk
Mhm.
about it. I'm passionate. I've met a lot of other people who have had traumatic brain injuries since, and I wouldn't have ever had that connection before.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's really wild. It's really wild. Just the connections I've made, the friendship of the mail lady.
Mhm.
I'm friends with one of my nurses that I had in the
Yeah.
hospital. One of the only people that I remember actually was her in the hospital, just specifically because she impacted me so much.
Yeah.
But it was during COVID, so I couldn't have any visitors.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
So I didn't know what had happened to me for like I think they had to repeat themselves so many. I don't even know how many times, but I feel like I don't even really remember. I feel like in the beginning I was probably asking a lot like what happened,
Mhm.
but I specifically remember one story. I was so they had to staple my head in the back, and I remember a nurse was like, you can go shower if you want to, and I was like, okay. So I went to shower, and no one, they probably did, but I didn't remember anyone telling me that I had staples.
Oh.
So that was very traumatic to feel. I was like, what happened?
What? Yeah.
What
What did I
happened to
do?
me? And
Yeah.
that's the only time I remember asking them what happened to me. I'm sure it was
Mhm.
more. But so then the nurse that I'm still friends with, I told her about that happening, and she came in and she gave me a shower, and she just sat me down. She combed my hair for me. It's gonna make me emotional talking about it. But I don't feel like a lot of nurses get a lot of credit for what they do, and they help
Mhm.
a lot of people. And
That's sweet.
she impacted my life for the good for sure
That's
during that.
crazy.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well,
It's a lot.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Man, I just remember that and I'm like, how in the world? Because I cannot imagine. But I mean, it obviously we go through things like that to educate other people or
Mhm.
to, help somebody else that goes through something traumatic like that. And
Yeah.
so
So much
we
good came from it.
yes, you hate that something bad things have to happen, but God works all things for his good, and
He does.
you can definitely say that about this accident.
Definitely.
Um
How is it that I can say something so terrible is like so much good came from
yeah,
it. So much
yeah.
good.
That's the power of the Lord.
That's power.
Well, Grace,
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you're my first guest. I feel like this was such a good conversation. You're very
Yes.
interesting. And so I feel
Thanks.
like everyone will love this episode. But I'm glad that we got to kick off the women episodes. Let's go. But yeah, so
Sweet.
this will air, I guess, next week probably. So you guys just stay tuned and we'll be back next time.
Yeah. Thank
Yay!
you.